Hello, I'm Howie, and welcome to another version of the You Call This Yoga show, where we are fostering dialogue within the yoga and wellness community to determine how we can create more accessible channels to practice yoga. Each week we'll have a guest who's a leader in their niche and beyond to share some of their insights, experiences, and wisdom. Over the weeks, we build pearls of wisdom to create a strand of ideas and concepts that you might practice. This is for teachers as well as students. Part of the history of You Call This Yoga is a relationship with our guest today, Lakshmi Voelker, and her husband, Bruce Ganesh Binder. They'll be on shortly. But in regards to the history of You Call This Yoga, I've had a lot of physical challenges, which has compromised my career and my quality of life. Yoga has been an integral element in my attempts to heal and manage my transitions. Each day I have chronic tension, and I'm always developing and exploring ways to reduce that tension. This is why we have the show, to invite you, the viewers, to interact with myself and our guests and each other. We'll invite you to call in at 919-518-9773 and also by Skyping, Computers 2K Voice. You can type in on the page of Nissan Communications. And if you click on my name, you can send me an email. We'll go over those later. But let's not dawdle anymore, and let's bring on someone who's been very instrumental in my path of bringing accessible yoga to the Raleigh and the Triangle community of North Carolina, as well as through many of her hundreds of teachers that she's trained in her Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga Teacher Training. Good morning, Lakshmi and Bruce, all the way in California.
Good morning, Howie. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm thrilled and just so jazzed up because it's always delightful to have conversations with you and share where each of us is advancing our agendas, which are pretty parallel. And hello, Bruce.
Hello, Howie.
I would say that Bruce has also been very instrumental in our process because he involves himself with the logistics of running Lakshmi's business and supporting her and vice versa. Lakshmi, tell me about your first experiences with chair yoga.
Would you like me to tell you how I created it, how it came from me?
Absolutely. The origin of the species.
Okay, fabulous. I was living in Palm Desert at the time, and I was sitting on a two-seater couch with a coffee table in front of me and a coffee table behind me and two end tables next to me. And one of my very best favorite students, her arthritis flared up and she was unable to get up the stairs in the car, zip up her jeans. She was unable to do anything throughout her day. And the thing that really broke her heart was that she was not able to come to my evening yoga classes in my home. So I sat down on the settee with a pad and a pen, and I vowed that I would not get off of the settee until I figured out what to do for her and how to bring yoga to her because I knew how healing it was for her. So I sat for quite a few hours and nothing came through me, and I was patient and I meditated, and I was a chanter at that time, and I chanted, and all of a sudden my cat jumped up on the coffee table, and I found myself sitting up nice and tall on the settee. And I said, oh, okay. And then she moved away a little bit, and I folded forward from my hips, and I extended my legs under the coffee table, and I started to pet her. Now, at that time, I was a platinum blonde, so I thought to myself, later on, oh my gosh, lights are on, but no one's home. I had come into sitting mountain, and I had come into the sitting fold on the settee. So it was coming through me, but I just wasn't aware. So I'm petting her, petting her, petting her, and she moves over to the coffee table. And I came back into my sitting mountain, and I stretched my legs out, and I came into the plank, and it's still not coming through me. Bend my legs, and she goes next to me. I put my hand on my knee, and I started to pet her. And she went behind me, and I continued to pet her. And I turned around, and I said, OMG. I just did a spinal twist, I did a forward fold, I did sitting mountain, and I did the plank on a chair. How cool. So she comes to the other side, and I'm petting her, and now I sit back on the settee, and I start drawing stick chairs and stick figures of little stick figures doing adapted asana to the chair. And that's how it all started. And I ran to Candace's house at 6 in the morning, and I said, you've got to do this every day. And 2 months later, she was back in my class.
That's beautiful. So I guess for our viewers and listeners, self-exploration and mindful discovery can be pretty revolutionary.
Oh, yes. Good observation, Howie. Absolutely.
For viewers who may not be as limber as Lakshmi, there's the potential of laying on the floor or even on your bed. I know for myself, I do a lot of lay around, look like I'm doing nothing yoga. However, it's very focused on certain parts of my body that are compromised, and I'm not putting extra weight or strain on my areas of weakness.
Mm.
Lakshmi, tell me, who were some of your early teachers, and what influence they may have had on coming to this epiphany with
Oh,
adaptive?
look at the smile on my face, and my heart is full. My very first teacher was when I was 18. I was a hippie at the time, and I went to a yoga class. Never heard of the word yoga, and we had on our Levi jeans, and we had a bath towel, and we went into the gym in Amityville, Long Island, and in walks in this beautiful woman, Anjali Joseph. She had on a sari and a bindi. Never saw such a thing, but it was totally right for me. And then her husband, Jaime, came in, and it's history from there. I did yoga with them. I was invited into their home. I learned women's studies and Indian cooking and Sanskrita. And 2 years later, we created Yoga Anand Ashram in Amityville, Long Island, and it's still there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
So that was my first teacher. And then I went on to Swami Muktananda of the Siddha Yoga lineage, and Yogi Desai of Kripalu, and many, many, many other yogis and meditators and teachers.
beautiful. Well, and speaking of Kripalu, I would share with our audience that my wife had received the Kripalu catalog, and I was fingering through it, and this was in 2008. And I came across Lakshmi's course description, and I said, this is the revolution. And my wife and many others would look at me and say, what are you talking about? But my career as a dentist at that time involved a lot of seatedness on the chair, a lot of torquing, and a lot of unstable positioning that has led to my arthritis getting worse. Therefore, I could appreciate how all this posturing and breathing and movement on a chair could impact the quality of many people's lives.
Yes.
And that's where I just said, this is where I'm going. And this is some of the key foundation of You Call This Yoga is Lakshmi's innovation. So I appreciate that.
Right. Well, Howie, actually, a similar story for myself. I was very inflexible in the lower part of my body my whole life from a fall I took on my back when I was 10 years old. And I'd always wanted to do yoga, but I couldn't. Just doing mat yoga was just out of reach for me. And I finally, took my first chair yoga class and realized, oh my goodness, this is something that can really help me and increase my flexibility without it hurting me. So,
Mm-hmm.
and just to let everyone in the audience know, I was so enamored with the product that I married it.
Exactly. It was. It's important that to get really up close and personal with something that could be so wonderful.
And
Well,
we all.
we're going to move towards one of our pearls of wisdom that I'd like us to discuss afterwards. So I'm going to turn the dial over to Amnon, our in-house specialist. Hello, Amnon.
Hello, Howie.
And Amnon will lead us into our first pearl of wisdom for the day. Noticed soreness or discomfort in the bottoms of your feet? It can result from many conditions because there's lots of nerve endings in the feet, as well as they bear the brunt of our weight as we sit, walk, or function in the world. It may not be easy to reach down and massage that, but we have other options. If you have a tennis ball or some sort of ball that has a little bit of give, and some tube sock or some sort of cotton element that's not too abrasive, then you could put the ball in the sock, and I have one already there. We can tie a knot so that the ball doesn't squish out. I put a yoga mat on my slick kitchen floor, but if you have a rug, you may not need the yoga mat. And just drop it down gently. Use the other foot to stabilize it. Press that supporting foot down and sit up. Then you might move the foot and let the ball put a little pressure from below as you massage the underside of your foot and breathe. Consider the downward pressure of the supporting leg, the upward lift of the spine, reversing the direction periodically. Good. Try that. Notice how it feels and let me know. However, you may say, but Howie, I don't have a tennis ball. What can I do? Well, you might have a lemon or a lime laying around, and you can use the lemon. It's about the same size as the ball, and use that. Then after you've massaged it, though it's covered with the sock, you'll have a much juicier lemon to make lemonade. Lakshmi, how do you adapt your posturing to help with foot relaxation? What are your recommendations?
Could you repeat that, please?
Sure. What do you like to do for relaxing the feet?
Oh, for relaxing the feet,
Mm-hmm.
I like to take small water bottles
Mm-hmm.
and I can either empty them or I can fill them. I put them on the floor. I have two of them. I put my feet on them and I roll either one foot or both feet on the water bottles, and that is wonderful in case you don't, have a tennis ball or a lemon or a lime or an orange. But the water bottles, and then I can empty them out, squeeze them, put them in my purse, and keep them with me if I want to use them throughout the day. Because foot reflexology is really, really good to stimulate all your glands and organs.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And for everybody out there, Part of that is what Lakshmi has an exercise called brain balancing. And anything we do mention, if you email us, we'd be happy to send you pages out of our manual so you can see how exactly to do the various exercises and be able to employ them.
Wonderful. I'll have Amnon put up the website so people can jot that down, and you
Thank
could
you.
also cite it, or I will. Amnon, we're ready. It's getfitwhereyousit.com. Do you prefer people to contact you through the website, or would you like a direct
Or
email?
they can, yeah. If you email info@getfitwhereyousit.com and let me know what you're looking for, we can get back to you.
Wonderful. Tell me about, and our viewers, how you developed your teacher education program, what you started out with, and then how has it evolved over the last period of time, however long it's been. I know that's a long question.
Before Lakshmi does that, one of the things that happened early on, as I said, I started taking chair yoga classes, and then we got married. And I said, Lakshmi, you're affecting maybe 100 people a year. If you certify teachers, and we now have over 1,500, and they're each affecting 100 people, look at the multiplier effect you get. So once I planted that idea, off went Miss Creativity, and I'll give it to you from there.
Absolutely. So I had a friend in City Yoga Ashram, and David, and he always said to me, Lakshmi, he said, teach the teachers. And I had no idea what that meant. I was a young yogini, and I had no idea what he meant by that. What I got from that was that I needed to teach a lot of classes. So at one point in the desert, believe it or not, I was up to between 25 and 28 classes a week, and during season. And that's what I thought David meant. And then meeting Bruce and sitting with myself, like you said, becoming mindful, I realized, and I was very active in Kripalu, and I have been since the early 80s. So I loved their programs and such. And all of a sudden, I just went into the office one day and I said, hey, how about if we do a chair yoga weekend? And that's how it started. And then from that point, I realized that I needed to start a certification. And like Bruce said, certify teachers so they could go all over the world and certify their students and teach their students Lakshmi Voelker chair yoga. So that's how that came about.
Mm-hmm. And when did you advance your expressions into the media in terms of videos or other channels for people to learn from? When did you make your first video?
What year was that?
Well, the CD you did in 19...
Well, when I first started, I had a boombox, and I made many cassettes in my garage, so to say, yoga and arthritis, yoga and this, yoga and that. So I was getting quite good at it. And then I'd go into recording studios and do it professionally. Then I did my CD, and in one take, we had the CD done, and this was about 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then
2007 we made the DVD.
Right, and that was an amazing experience. But I knew we needed to do that to, again, ever since I was a little yogini, I kept hearing myself say, you've got to touch as many souls as you can with the gift of yoga. And at that time, my consciousness was not as high as it is now, so I couldn't grasp what that meant. And I finally did, and I said, well, I've got to make cassettes, CDs, and DVDs.
And then, because no one has a CD player anymore, or a DVD player in a lot of cases, we then moved on to the internet, and we have now what we call a web wellness site, and it's got already over 40 classes on it. And it's, subscription available for $4.99 a month, and you can watch it as much as you want. But yeah, we've had we've had to adjust to the times, Howie.
Oh yes, I can appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, you are by allowing me to interview you from across the country. That's why I have these very powerful smoke signals behind my ears. I'm sending. These are my transmission channels. If you would say
Howie, you are a hoot and a half. I just love you.
it's not that there's steam. It's that's the energy coming out of there. Well, I can appreciate the evolution of using media. This is breaking a wall for you. Call this yoga in trying to connect the community in the U.S. as well as the world.
Well, Howie, I have to also say that, I could take my business as far as I could take it. I was teaching in various places. I was getting ready to certify at Kripalu and the Open Center and the Mayo Clinic, but I could not have done what I've done now without Bruce. He
Hmm.
runs the business. He grooms me, he takes care of me, and when it's time for me to travel, off I go. There's no way Lakshmi, I'm sure I could have. I'm sorry to say that. That's negative thinking. I could have done it. It would have been a lot more challenging for me than having Bruce to help me with it. So that's, he's been absolutely amazing.
It's interesting where life takes you, because my 50 years in the software business, who knew this is where it was going to take you?
Right.
Yes, it's softness on another scale.
Yes.
Right.
So
And I
we got
guess-
a left brain, right brain balancing situation right here in front of you.
And that speaks to the community factor, whether it be a dual company like yourself, where there's two of you involved. For You Call This Yoga, I have a board, but I also have brilliant technical people, Amnon and Jamie from Video Contact, who does our videos. And without them, I would be further spinning around, possibly chasing my tail, trying to create ways to express opportunities for people to be practicing adaptive yoga.
And I'm not saying that a single person cannot do this. So please don't get me wrong. A single person can do this. It just depends on where you're going, what you're looking for, and your creativity, your energy level, and are you able to balance the checkbook, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, let's invite our viewers and callers, 919-518-9773, with questions, comments, computers 2K voice on Skype, the chat box on the Nissan Communications website, and eventually you can click my name or email, as well as go to the getfitwhereyousit.com website to learn more about Lakshmi's programs. Lakshmi, how do the teachers that you've trained communicate? Do they have a chat room or any way that your alumni can engage each other? Is that in the cards? How can we create more communication to address some of this isolation?
Well,
I'm going
again,
to give that to Bruce.
Yeah.
again, we have a Facebook page for the teachers. It's closed, so only the teachers can chat on there. So we're right in the midst of social media with that, and we send out a newsletter at least 4 or 5 times a year, probably more. Using MailChimp to keep people in touch and informed. We also find leads for the teachers, teaching leads. People contact us as, is there a chair yoga class in my neighborhood?
Through the website, there's a
Right.
contact form on the website, and we can defer that person to all our teachers in that area. So that's turned out to be very successful for our teachers.
Wonderful. Well, I believe we have someone engaging us. Let's go there.
Okay.
Well, they hung up. I guess they couldn't. Oh, they're back. Welcome. Who's calling?
Hello.
Hello. This is Howie. Who's this?
Hello.
Hi. Yes, share what
This
you.
is Carol Merowitz.
Hello, Carol.
Mama love.
Just a second. Carol, please turn down.
Okay, so,
Carol,
yes,
please turn down the computer's
yes.
volume or walk away from it because the delay will kill it.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to walk away from it.
And this is one of our favorite
Okay, this is so
teachers.
funny. You hear my New York accent, which I have become very well known for.
What are you talking
I
about?
wanted to give all of you a hug over the phone
Why,
because
thank you.
what you are doing is just spreading the word. And this is something that I can relate to because I teach chair yoga, Lakshmi Voelker chair yoga. I have sung her praises to all of my participants, and we have, as a group, become healthier on the chair. And I have people sitting on chairs in a mountain pose doing Lakshmi's sessions with visualizations, with breathing correctly, with conforming to the natural curves of the spine, and with complete relaxation and strengthening the body using only the body. So I embrace and I celebrate Lakshmi and Bruce and you, Howie, for bringing this closer to the yoga community and all of us who celebrate who we are, because we have become more a part of life because we're healthy and connected to healthy bodies and healthy thinking. So thank you so much for bringing this out there to all of us. And again, maybe just give yourself hugs for me and for everybody who you have affected over the years and who will in the very, very near future.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Well, with that, we're going to move towards our
Okay,
sponsor-supported
you're very welcome.
commercial. This week's sponsor is Irregardless Cafe and Catering and their catering site, The Glenwood, all in Raleigh. I've eaten there hundreds of times over these decades. Thank you, Irregardless. Amnon, would you share the next segment? Welcome to my showcase of miss-sized chairs. However, these are common chairs that we may come across in our day-to-day doings and seldom think about the height of the chair and how that affects the positioning of our pelvis. Often we're seated with the pelvis slumped forward and we're in this cratered position with the torso. The intention, though, in my opinion, is to have a downward slope of the thighs. Many a chair do not support that. As you can see, this chair is significantly lower than this chair, causing knees to be relatively higher. This chair has a slope into the seat and a slope back, fostering that cratering. What I'd like you to consider is the concept of what I call leveling the playing field. Where have I heard that before? Except here, you might take a very elementary seat pad put it in the seat. I'm going to reverse it around and notice how it's relatively level. And then I might have another one, because they often are sold in pairs, and I'll position it here, and then you notice, oh, that looks pretty perpendicular. That levels the field in both planes. Try that, see how it feels, and let me know. Thank you, irregardless. If you're on our page, you can click on the irregardless icons and it'll take you to their website. But let's go back live to our special guests, Lakshmi and Bruce. Lakshmi, tell me how you recommend adjusting chairs, because I've seen on your videos you have some seat padding too. What do you like to accomplish with that?
I like to, well, sometimes people have to put a block under their feet, 2 blocks. A telephone book, remember them? Telephone books or encyclopedia, remember them? Something under their feet I find is very helpful. I like to use a pillow, and this pillow is great. You can fold it in half, you can twist it, and you put that behind the back if necessary. Into the lower lumbar region, and it makes a wonderful difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to come toward the front edge. I don't like to sit toward the back because it allows me the opportunity to go into what I call slumpasana.
Mm-hmm.
So as I come toward the front edge, I start to come into alignment and I can feel my muscles becoming engaged.
Yes. It's a whole different relationship when you can actually sit up and as opposed to just collapsing backwards.
Right.
Well, if you look at a chair, you know, you want to try to become one with the chair. If it's a fairly decent chair, you want to have your back like the back of the chair, the seat, your lap like the seat, and your legs like the legs. That's your I am the mountain, I am stable, solid, and secure pose.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had to do a demo for one of the 2 companies that provide most of the dialysis clinics in the world. And we got a group of people that had just finished dialysis. And for those of you that might not be aware, those people sit in a lounge chair for 4 to 5 hours, having toxic chemicals pumped into their body. When they get out of there, they are zombies. So Lakshmi took them all and gave them the chair yoga class and the first thing sitting mountain. As soon as they moved forward on the chair, because if all of you out there, if you're sitting, if you come forward on the chair, you automatically straighten your back.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, within 15 seconds of moving forward on the chair, actually had smiles on their faces.
Mm-hmm.
So the rewards that Lakshmi gets from this are just unbelievable.
And they use the tools. Some of them put things under their feet, or they put their blankets under their feet. Whatever they needed to do, whatever you need to do is fine with us. It's about you. It's not about us.
Mm-hmm. Understood. So for teachers out there, it seems that there's a certain amount of assertiveness that is helpful in reaching the community,
Yes.
and a certain amount of creativity.
Yes. Yes.
How have others besides Bruce, who is instrumental, how would you suggest teachers who don't have a Bruce or me having my tech support and wonderful spouse, accrue support for these sort of endeavors? Any sort of tips on how to connect with organizations that's been successful for you?
I would just say, number one, go on the internet. Go on the internet, go on Google, key in what you're looking for. There's wonderful magazines out there. There's Yoga Journal, there's Yoga International, there's International Association of Yoga Therapy, there's Yoga Alliance. There's so many tools. Go on YouTube. There's so many tools. It blows my mind what's out there to help us. But it does take time, and I understand that. And it is, our life is chair yoga 24/7, 7 days a week, all the time. We are reaching out and trying to figure out how to get this to as many people as we can, because we so believe in it. So there's many tools out there right at your fingertips.
And another tip, when we first started out, we looked for a website development company to help us out. And the way we evaluated them is we finally found one where the guy who ran the company, his wife was, a very spiritual person, and he was. So we found a company that understood the message that we were trying to get out to the world, and how that needed to be transmitted to the world properly.
And now they're all over the place. They're all over the place. At that time, we had to do a major search to find John. But now, I see them all the time. But you have to be careful. Just be careful in who you pick. Do your research. Don't jump into the pool right away. Check it out.
And because of my technical background, if anybody needs any advice or support a little bit, feel free to email me. We're, as Howie, what Howie's trying to do here is we're here to promote just the beauty of what yoga does for the body, the mind, and the spirit. So anything we can do to help, let us know.
Yeah, we're very giving and open with everything that we have. What we have is yours, and we'll help you in any way we can.
Beautiful. Now, would you put up the website again? And the email that's preferred at this time is info@getfitwhereyousit.com. And are there easy access via your website to your videos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Very easy.
And one other thing I'd like to throw out for everyone, there's a group called the Accessible Yoga Conference, and they're going to be in New York for their next conference. I think, Howie, I think you're planning on going there. You went to the one in California for sure. But that's another group you really ought to hook up with if you're looking to improve the accessibility of your yoga to your community.
Yes.
They do a wonderful job.
Yes.
They really promote accessible yoga.
They're based in Santa Barbara, California. Giovanna is part of it. And there's so many resources out there for us now. We have so many teachers that have done research studies. We have professors that have done research studies on the benefits of LV chair yoga. So it just blows my mind how much is available for us. At times it's overwhelming, isn't it?
Oh, right. We have to filter our own channels too. Well, speaking of accessible yoga, yes, I did go to that conference, and I felt like I was with my people.
Yes.
And it was wonderful, but it also showed how many people were actively operating as individuals and how isolated they could feel. So for our teachers and even our students, please do research this accessibleyoga.org. I think that's the website, but we'll clarify that. Speaking of Giovanna, he will be our guest in 2 weeks.
Oh,
so
great.
yes. And if you're a teacher and have any consideration for attending this wonderful conference in May, Matthew Sanford will be part of the keynotes, and that there is a reduced fee on registration through January.
So
you can get a little jump on reduced fee and not wait till Giovanna on the 31st to inspire you to participate.
Great. And our co-director, Brenda Yarnold, who's in New Jersey, she will be doing the chair yoga for us this year. I have another commitment to take care of. So you will get a chance to take some LV chair yoga classes with our divine sunshine, Brenda.
Beautiful. Well, since we're up to this 24/7 chair yoga, it must be time for another commercial to give us another pearl of wisdom. Amnon, bring it on. Have you thought much about the use of your nose when you're breathing, whether it's in yoga practice or other modes of living in the world? Well, it is possible that you can improve your capacity to breathe and function by using your nose. Consider just gently keeping the lips together. Let your shoulders relax and draw in a nice easy breath and release it through the nose if possible at that same duration as the inhale. There are also nerve endings in the nose that can be part of your stimulation or sympathetic nervous system, as well as relaxation in your parasympathetic element of your nervous system. If you pronounce the exhale long and slow and relaxed in the breathing, that may also translate into relaxation in your body, your mind, and other modes of function. Try that, see how it feels, and let me know. Thank you, Howie. Back to Lakshmi and Bruce.
Now, thank
So
you.
if
Thank you, Howie.
Let me follow up on your commercial there, your pearl of wisdom, Howie.
Please, bring it on.
For those of you that might not be aware, there's a whole breathing technique called the potato breath, and it's all about that we shouldn't be doing mouth breathing, which is not good for you, and it's all about how to do nose breathing and all kinds of great techniques. So if anybody's, as Howie said, who thinks about the nose? But there it is. There's an entire course you can take, and etc., called, the potato breath. It was a Russian doctor. He watched older people that were passing away in the hospital and figured out that breathing through the nose was making them more comfortable and less pain. So for those of you interested, check it out.
Well, breathing through the mouth makes us acidic. And one of the big buzzwords now is alkaline. That's why we have the green drinks and, all the green vegetables that we're eating and such. So when we breathe through the nose, it makes us more alkaline. Breathing through the nose makes us alkaline. Breathing through the mouth makes us acidic.
And what are the other consequences of this acidity that come
Makes
to mind?
us fatigued. Brings in inflammation. I think those are two pretty good ones right there.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're also not getting the right blend of oxygen into our
And
bloodstream.
carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
right? And that's what Dr. Konstantin Buteyko discovered. It's that there's a fine line. You don't want to just have all oxygen, and you don't want to have all carbon dioxide.
Mm-hmm.
And the nose knows, right, Howie? That's something you would say. The nose knows.
Oh, yes. That's why I'm sitting with my lips together, so I can be more fully alert.
Maybe you should put a piece of tape over your lips.
That's when I do yoga nidra and I don't snore. Yes. So
Yes, I've been in class with you when you've snored, and it's quite delightful.
Well, thank you. It's one of my marks. That's why my wife doesn't take class next to me either, because she'd like a little quiet too. Yes, it happens.
Bless her soul.
One thing I wanted to shift towards is some of the experiences that I've had in training with you, and how You Call This Yoga has partnered with Lakshmi Voelker and Bruce in advancing our messaging.
Yes.
I did take Lakshmi's training in 2008, which launched my focus into adaptive yoga with the chair. It has helped me in my life, because I do practice some form of yoga throughout the day, even if it's just observing and not judging my malposed body. When I took the training in 2008, I had an internal goal to assist Lakshmi at some point in the future and to advance my capacity and value towards her program. I was able to be her assistant in 2013 and could appreciate that there had been changes in her program, more in what I was experiencing because I've had so many disabilities. The first time I was at Lakshmi's course, I had just come off of neck surgery and did not have my hip replaced yet, so I was a vision of movement with difficulty. And I found that Lakshmi has evolved in her presentation. There's some other elements that she now includes in her teaching that I think have evolved over time. Some of it's positional and more therapeutic in the formal sense. So Lakshmi, can you talk about some of the more recent advances in positional therapy and other modalities that you're teaching?
Yes, we brought in levels of flexibility, which is you take a pose and there's multiple levels because not everybody can get their foot on their knee for the tree. So crossing the foot over the ankle is totally acceptable. Not everyone can raise their hands here. So bringing them here, or if you've had a stroke, here is acceptable. So we've afforded people the opportunity to love themselves where they are at today. Tomorrow's another day, so we look at that. So we've got levels of flexibility, which is really the core of our program now. And then I did some study with Lee Albert, integrated positional therapy, and he and I had a program at Kripalu. It was chair yoga and IPT. And Lee's work is amazing, and between the two of us, we had an amazing program. And I took all of his mat and table techniques and put them on the chair, also balancing the pelvis and slackening the muscle and strengthening the muscle. And so I've always been a studier, and I'm always open to learn new things. And everything I learn, Howie, I apply it to the chair, whether it's a program with Tony Robbins and the motivational speaker. I bring his lymphatic system cleansing breath to the program. So every day, no matter what or who I learn, I say, how can I get that on the chair? And eventually I'll be taking, I think sometime this year, the foundations training up here in Santa Barbara. And I'm going to apply that to the chair because Brenda does that right now and she applies it to the chair. So those are some of the modalities, and then all the Eastern techniques I've learned, the hand movements, the knee movements, the pranayama, everything that I've learned from various masters goes on the chair.
And again, to plug one of our cohorts, Lee Albert, and it's called Integrated Positional Therapy. He's got a book, and what his theme is, go pain-free without drugs.
Yes.
And it's all about slackening muscles rather than tensing them. And he does
it's a balance.
Yeah, he does some amazing work to relieve pain.
Yep.
Well, I can appreciate that. I've had chronic pain that I didn't acknowledge for many years with my hip. I called it discomfort because in my mind it was not going to overrun me. Well, eventually I had my hip replaced. And the surgery has its merits too. But yes, there's many modalities to reduce our pain, and that's really helpful.
And it's a personal choice also. What I choose, you might say, oh my gosh, I would never do that. And we all have to have a personal choice. And in LV chair yoga, we focus on the word Satnam and its true identity. And what is your true identity? And for our teachers, we encourage them to bring their true identity to the class. I like to laugh like you, Howie. I like to joke. I like to have fun. I feel good. If I feel good, my students are going to feel good. So, but some of my teachers, as I'm training them, they say, I'm not comfortable doing that. I'm not comfortable telling jokes. Don't tell jokes. Tell and do what you do.
I can appreciate that. When I was a mentee of a studio owner in Raleigh, I took my training very seriously. And believe it or not, at one point she said that I should loosen up, and it was like the genie coming out of the bottle. It was like, oh, I don't have to be so deferential all the time. Oh, what liberation! And let the bad puns roll. So
Oh boy,
that's
here
the
we
price
go.
of Laycom. If you're coming to either have sitcom or Laycom, you're gonna get some jokes.
Or stand calm.
Well, we have one more pearl today,
Oh
and
my.
let's share that, and then we'll get to the final elements of the show. Have you ever been in a situation where you just don't know what to do with your hands? You can sit on them, put them all over the place, but it may not be obvious as to what can be constructive. I've talked about palms up, but if you just bend the elbows and bring the fingertips together, keeping a nice straight forearm and wrist and hand continuum, see that? Then it is possible to do what's called spider push-ups. Consider that on the inhale, you might open the space between the hands, and then on the exhale, slowly articulate the finger elements coming down to the finger pads, palm pad and thumb pad. Notice how I'm keeping my elbows down, trying to maintain some of this integrity. I might slowly separate them, come up to the fingertips, and exhale, slowly bring it down. You might consider this yoga and isometrics. But it also allows the energy to flow through the arms. I like keeping the elbows down to avoid crunching the neck. So let's sit up. I can keep this under the table in case I'm getting a little stressed for whatever reason. This can help calm. So try that, see how it feels, and let me know.
Can't remember.
So anyone in the audience ever do that? We'd love to hear from you. Your spider push-ups, or however you like to keep your hands in a relaxed way. 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. Lakshmi, show me what you got over there with your hands. What do you like to do?
Oh, what I like to do is the Chinese acupressure body balancing hand movements.
Oh,
And I'm not going to go into a long spiel about it, but it's the tapping of the hands. There's a certain way to do it. And you really get the prana going in the hands. And then you look at these hands, and then, oh, they're tingling just with the few that I've done. And then you think of a body part that you'd like to heal and take care of. Let's say it's my shoulder. I put the prana-laden hands on the shoulder, close my eyes, sitting in sitting mountain, and I breathe. And the energy goes from my hands into my shoulders. And the key to this is to remove the hands very slowly when you're done. You don't want to traumatize that body part. It needs to trust you now. And you just slowly remove the hands, put one palm, one back into the palm, and just focus on your breath, like you said, through the nose. And that's, oh, I do that with my hands a lot. And I also put them on my knees too.
And Bruce, any tips from you?
My tip is, if you'd like to know more about the hand movements, the knee movements, any of these things, again, feel free to send me an email and I'll send you the PDF back.
Like we've got nothing else to do. God
Right.
bless this man. You know, we're always giving. But I want to let you all know that we do take care of ourselves. We turn everything off at 4:30. We eat. We walk, we go to the beach. Saturday, we go to the opera. This Saturday is Romeo and Juliet. You must take time for yourself. This guy could do this 24 hours a day, not this girl. This girl likes to play and dance.
Excellent. Well, getting back to some of the dance that our organization and your business has done is the kindness that you have in supporting our teachers through Skype. It's not always easy for a teacher to take a training. And what's interesting, just like we're doing today, is we're communicating. Some of our You Call This Yoga teachers have trained with Lakshmi remotely and have been thrilled with some of their progress. It's a beautiful experience to have a one-on-one teacher. That was something I had the luxury of in my yoga teacher training, and I can appreciate that that's the way it used to be. And Lakshmi has developed with Bruce's Technology Whiz the opportunity for teachers to Skype and learn. So Lakshmi and Bruce, can you tell me about what percent of your teacher trainees now are on Skype, and about how many are coming to the actual trainings? How's that changed over time?
Well, it's changing more and more over time because people are getting more and more used to technology. I'd say right now it's probably about 25% Skype and 75%, but I'm seeing this year it's switching to 40-60.
Yeah, yeah.
And one thing I can tell you is that we've had probably a dozen or so teachers. They were really reluctant to do it, but there was just no way they could get to a live certification, either the expense, they couldn't get time off work, whatever the challenge was for them. And every one of them at the last video call made sure I was in the room, because I do the initial contact with everyone, and thanked me for forcing them to take this on Skype. Every one of them said it was the single best learning experience of their entire lives.
And he also will teach you, initially he'll teach you how to get onto Skype and how to position yourself, and you get to work with me personally, not a book, not videos. For 6 calls, you are with Lakshmi in my living room. Brenda will be doing it soon. We have someone in England that's taking care of the UK. Her name is Liz. We have someone in Australia, Claire, and we have 2 other gals that will be training here in the United States. So I guess that's a good question, Howie. Again, with technology, the online training is amazing, and you get to be with a human being, not the computer.
That's lovely.
It's cool. It's really cool.
And we'll be opening up our Hong Kong trainer soon too.
Oh,
We're going
Lord.
to have a trainer in Hong Kong.
Well, that's expanding the reach wonderfully. It's a thrill. What
It is.
what we've done in Raleigh is have a yoga festival that our organization puts on to raise money for our programming. We also have support for teachers to get training if they've been involved with our organization for a certain amount of time. So we invite teachers, if they're in our region of the Triangle, North Carolina, to consider reaching out to You Call This Yoga if they have interest in learning from Lakshmi, or directly with Lakshmi and Bruce to find out more. We also have made it a point to have chair-based yoga classes at our Yoga Fest NC, which is on April 8th. We'll have a variety of teachers that come from some slightly different lineages, but they are definitely adaptive and in the spirit of what we're both trying to share today on the show. That's April 8th. Other key websites are accessibleyoga.org that we mentioned before, getfitwhereyousit.com, and Lakshmi and Bruce's Get Fit Where You Sit Facebook page. Is that the name of the Facebook page?
Yes, actually, Lakshmi Voelker Chair Yoga.
My bad. Thank you on that.
All right.
Any other thoughts that we could share with the audience before we wrap up?
Well, I know you made me earlier, so I'm going to stand up. I'm sure people have been curious, but this is my theme of being a yogi.
Beautiful.
Energy efficient.
That's right. He's more
He's
than
got
just.
an answer for everything. He's a Jersey boy. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, we know what you're talking about. Well, we're
Howie,
gonna.
you're doing a wonderful job.
Howie,
We
this
just
is-
applaud you for doing this.
Ah.
It's just amazing.
Well,
And
thank
I
you.
know all the people out there watching feel the same. I mean, you're doing a great thing for everyone.
You got a new career coming up, Hal.
Yeah, I got a new name for Howie. It's Hollywood Howie.
That's right. Soon to be live from LA.
Right, right.
Well, thank you, viewers and listeners. The show will be on YouTube soon via the Nissan Communication channel, or also through You Call This Yoga's YouTube page. Next week, we have Cable Kaur Khalsa from Yoga for Youth, North Carolina, a national nonprofit with a branch in Durham that we have been partnering with for several years. And then the week after, we'll have Giovanna Hyman from Accessible Yoga. Tune in, and I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you soon. Namaste.
You're tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.